What's up guys, Viper FPV here, and today we are actually doing another build, and I've always wanted to do a 7-inch build, and this is exactly what this is all about. So I'm going to go kind of over all the parts I'm going to be using first, and this is the frame we're going to be using is actually a, it's called the HSKRC XL5, 6, 7, or 8, or 9. You can get this from a 5-inch to a 9-inch quad, and the price is like $21 to $26. I believe it's kind of like a clone of the iFlight frame, but yeah, so that's what we're working with today as our frame. It's a really nice frame, definitely is. So what else we're going to be using too is we're going to be using these SpeedX 2 to 6S ESCs. They're 35 amps each, and we're going to be putting that out on the arms. I don't think I've ever done a build with ESCs on the arms, I think my entire YouTube career. So that's that. And then we also have our Radix flight controller and also the PDB. So this is the flight controller and the PDB we're going to be using. And for motors, we got some of these nice motors here. Let me take one that's actually been out of the box. These are the Race Star 1200 kV. I believe these are size-wise, if I remember right. Yeah, 2508 motors. These are some big beefy motors, and they are really nice looking. These are actually designed in partnership with Race Star and T-Motor, so you're knowing when you buy these motors that they're actually T-Motors technically. So yeah, so this is going to look pretty sweet with these on there, and these things look pretty beefy. And the reason why I picked these motors was because they're really big motors, and you want a big motor for a 7-inch quad. 1200 kVs because we're going to be running this on 6S. So if you wanted to do like a 4S long range type of quad, then you can go ahead and up the kV to probably around 16 to 1900 kV, depending on the voltage of the battery you're going to be using. So that is that for the motors. And then we also have our trusted and true TBS Unify Pro HV. Goes up to 800 milliwatts. It's not one of the newer ones I've had. I have tons of VTXs, so I'm just trying to use up the ones I do have. And then also we're using a brand new Foxeer. Nope, that's not the right one. This is it. The Foxeer Predator V4 Micro. That's what we're going to be putting in the front here. So yeah, so that is what we're going to be using. So let's go ahead and start our build. So first things what I like to go ahead and do is I always like to go ahead and start with the motors first. So I'm going to go ahead and put the motors on all the arms real easily. And I'm not sure how many parts this video will be. I'm not sure if it'll be 1 part, 2 parts. Most likely it's going to be probably 2 parts. So let me go ahead and get some of my tools out here that I'm going to need. See, I need that. I need my Loctite. You always want to make sure you're Loctiting your motors on. And I guess we'll use this little thing for the flight controller as our little pad to put that stuff on. Squirt some there. And let me get my screws and motors out and all that stuff. Alright, so we're ready to go ahead and start putting our motors on. So I'm going to just kind of line them up here. Make sure these motor things here are long enough. Yep, so that's good. So you see here, see how I have a little bit over it? You don't want too much, or you're going to go in the actual threads or the windings of the motor, and that will be bad. So dip a little bit in some Loctite. And just kind of screw them in by hand. And just kind of just get them all and make sure the wire is actually facing towards that way when you're doing it. Kind of get that one in there. And then we can go ahead and tighten it all up. Like so. And you just make it kind of tight, but not too tight, because you don't want to strip it, because it's only aluminum, the bottom base. So that's one motor done. Looks real nice. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the motors on, and then we'll get to the next step. Alright, so I got all 4 motors mounted on the quad. And yeah, so what we're going to go ahead and do next is we're going to mount our PDB, and we're going to put that right down here. So we're going to go ahead and put these little plastic nylon screws here down so then it doesn't touch metal, so we don't have a short, because that bottom base is metal. And also there's carbon there too. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on there. And screw those down in there. Okay. And then I'm going to take this sucker, slide it around top. And then I'm not going to put the nuts on here yet. What I'm going to go ahead and probably do is we'll go ahead and solder the ESCs on, get that out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and put those on. So next step here is we're going to get our ESCs, and a lot of ESCs come like this. So they have, you know, the 2 leads here, and then they have our signal and ground right there. I'm going to unplug that for the flight controller real quick, just so I don't melt it and make a mess. And then also what we're going to go ahead and use is some of this VHB tape. I use this on the bottom of this. So what I'll do is I'll shrink wrap this once I'm done with my soldering connections, and then I'll put the VHB tape down underneath it. So kind of like this. So it'll have this around it, like so. If I can get it on there all the way. And then I'll just have it sticky down here on the arm. And placement's up to you if you want to make the wires longer and make this closer. I probably would make it probably closer, because I guess it doesn't really matter, whatever way you want to do it. But that's how I'll go ahead and do it. So we'll get that off there. And we'll start trimming our wires up and everything. So let's go ahead and see how we want it on the arm. So I kind of want it like right there in the middle. I think that's a good spot for it. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is kind of line up our wires. So I'm probably going to put the ESCs, this part on first. So yeah, we're going to go like right there, and then right there. Yep. So I'm going to just grab these wires here. Kind of see how they're going to go. So yeah, everything looks good to me. So yeah, I had to swap this over. So let's go ahead and do. So I'm going to trim some of these wires up. And get my wire cutters out. That. Cut that off. And then we'll go ahead and solder it up. I'm not going to do every single one because the video will be super long. So I'm going to go ahead and strip these up. Alrighty. And then strip these up. I actually didn't get that cut all the way. And doing that like that. And let's go ahead and zoom in on the camera so then we can go ahead and get a closer look. what we're doing here. All right. That should be good. All right, so I'm going to pre-tin this ESC here on this side. And the solder I do use is 6337. Some solder I got. I'm not sure if I'm in the shot or not, if I'm covering it. My apologies. All right. And let's make sure that these are nice and tinned up here. Okay, and good. So that's good. And then we have plus and minus. They're actually kind of reversed on this, so you have to do a little. I didn't realize that when I was doing it. So make sure you pay attention, because it is easy to mess up. I even cut them to length according to the other wire, but good thing is I didn't connect motor wires or anything connected yet. So I can, since this is my first one, I can just make the other ones match it. So I'm going to get that in there. Perfect. And then get this other one. Good. And then we can just take this one. Well, might as well pull that through. I'll pull that one through so it looks decent. And to avoid it crossing like that, you could also flip it upside down too. But I kind of want it I want the upside so the heat sink is facing up. So it's up to you, whatever you want to do. But we're gonna do our ground. Actually, these wires, these little things are a little too long. So I'm going to go ahead and trim those up. That's good. And then we're going to go ahead and solder that to there. And then the other one, which is the signal. Now that's up to debate if you want to hook up your grounds. You don't have to, but since it does supply the wire for the ground, I'm going to hook it up. Usually I don't. If it doesn't have it connected, I usually don't do it. And some people say it actually does matter, some people say it doesn't. So it's up to you. And if you're having problems like desinks and stuff, I would suggest to hook it up, because it could cause sometimes some problems with noise or something. But we got that, went ahead and got that all done. So that heat shrink that it came with, we're going to go ahead and take that, put it over it, like so. It's actually quite a bit of heat shrink. I don't know if I'm going to need all of that. Well, I guess I will, because yeah, that'll cover the motor wires too. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and do that. And whenever I'm soldering to the spare pads, I do like to just put a little bit of flux on there. Forgot the name of it for a second. And then we're going to go ahead and get our wires. And we're just going to go straight across, and we'll change the motor direction in B-heli. So, and sometimes even you do it straight across, sometimes it is still backwards, because depending on how they have the windings inside. So if you ever replace the motor and you put it exactly the same way, and you're like, well, I didn't across the motors, well, they might have not hooked it up, you know, like you did on the other one, on the motor. So go ahead and trim these suckers. That's good enough. It's actually going to be a little shorter. Same thing with this one. Alright. And there's extra wire you can keep if you want to. You can use it for something else you might need it for. We'll trim these back. I don't know how good you were in a shot, but you're in a shot now. Alright. Let's go ahead and pre-tin the ESC pads there. So there's a lot more process, a lot bigger involvement when you use separate ESCs. But the good thing is if one does blow, you can just replace the ESC, you know. Good. We'll pre-tin these suckers. Keep saying suckers, sorry. All I know is with me today. Alright. We'll dab that off. And then we'll go ahead and tin. We'll connect the wires up. Like so. This one is a little long. We'll just do that. Kind of good to have extra wire than not having enough, right? Alright, so that's that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to just move this over it. Just like that. Alright, I'm back. I finally found, I guess I didn't find my heat gun, but I did find this one. So go ahead and melt that up. Alright, that's good. Unplug that. Okay. And then we'll just get our VHB tape and we'll stick that underneath. And cut off a little piece of that. This stuff is a pain in the butt though to like... I kind of just cut a strip. Kind of like a little tiny strip like that. And then I kind of just peel it off that one side, and then because it's like so sticky, sometimes it just sticks to everything. It's like Play-Doh, like jelly. But it does make a good seal though. Once it gets on there, and you let it sit for like, I don't know, hour or so, and it like sticks to it forever. But you still can get it off. And it comes off cleanly too. So exactly like that. So we'll leave that like that, let it kind of set for a second. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the ESC so you don't have to watch me do the rest. And then we'll probably just show you how everything looks, and then we'll probably go from there. So let's do it. Alright guys, so we are back. I got all the ESCs mounted to the arms. I actually did also use zip ties over it to secure it, just in case you do have a crash. And also that has that VHB tape underneath it just to isolate it from the carbon fiber, just in case there is like a hole in the shrink wrap or whatever. But what we're going to do next, and then we'll probably call it a day on this video, is we're just going to go ahead and put some wire onto the leads on the actual PDB. And yeah, so let's go ahead and pre-tin these wires up. And you always, when you're soldering, I'm not sure how new you are. I'm assuming you're probably pretty experienced, because if you're building a 7-inch quad, they're a lot harder to tune and also a lot harder to, a little more expensive than a 5-inch or something smaller. So I'm pretty sure you know how to solder, but if you're watching this, just to kind of just watch me do it, you always pre-tin the wire that you're going to be soldering to, because it won't stick to just bare wire. So that's pretty much why. So we're going to go ahead and pre-tin these pads here. And we do not have to worry about putting capacitor on this at this moment anyway, because this PDB already has a capacitor right there. It's built into the PDB, which is really nice, this Brain FPV one. They're expensive though, they're like 20-something bucks, which I was cringing buying it, because I usually like to use 4-in-1 ESCs. But I bought it, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is, that is negative here. Go ahead and solder that sucker onto that. And then do the other one. And I'm not going to put the XT60 on it yet, because I'm not sure how long I want this wire. So I'm going to probably save that for a while, pretty much. But yeah, so that's done. So we got our wires here for our leads to our battery, and then to our XT60, pardon. But in the next video, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll mount the flight controller on here. We have some extra things we need to mount onto this PDB, like the VTX and also the camera. So in another video, we'll go ahead and go over that. But I appreciate you guys watching. Didn't want to make this video too long. If you're interested in building something like this, I'll leave some affiliate links down in the comment section down below. Like I said, it doesn't cost you guys any more money. It just costs the vendor. They give me like a 3% or so of the cut of what the order is. But I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in a future video. Peace.